My name is Tom Moore. I work for the Gallatin City County Health Department. In our health department, we do a lot of things. We do immunizations, we do child welfare checks, we do home visitation with nurses, we do a lot of things. But we do septic systems and subdivisions, and that's why I'm here to talk to you about it. So septic systems, I'm going to assume that everybody, figure this out, everybody knows what a septic system is, because if I have to explain how they work and everything, we'll be here longer than 10 minutes. But septic systems, that's what I deal with. But the important thing is, why are they important? Why does it matter? In the old days, hunter-gatherer groups, they trashed an area and they moved on to another area. And that still can occur. Wild animals, they move from here to there. They don't continually defecate in one area. As late as 250 years ago, people were still taking their chamber pots and tossing them out a window to the ground below where people walked through them. Pigs ate them. People ate the pigs. People took off their shoes after walking through that stuff. And the life expectancy rate was about 37 years old. So we've come a long way since then. And the experts who do this kind of numbers crunching estimate that our longevity today is based mostly because of our advances in public health, immunizations and getting rid of dysentery, cholera, typhoid fever. That bottom slide I just threw in there, that's an actual photograph from up near Glasgow or Havre on the High Line. The water would come up in the spring and just flush all their sewage away, and they never had to dig another pit. And so that's not there anymore, so we don't worry about that. I hope it's not there anymore. Definitions between public systems and private systems. It's been really fun for me to sit here in the front row and listen to these guys, because I never get to deal with these big plants. I mean, it's kind of interesting to hear how they work. I deal with the little system on the right-hand side there. But a public system, definition, any system that serves 25 or more people 60 days out of the year. So that's your Corral Bar. That's the Big Sky Bucks T4. That's your Exxon down here. Those are public systems. I don't necessarily deal with those. Todd does. I deal with the little systems, the 5-bedroom homes, the 4-bedroom homes, and there's a lot of them. And we can talk about those definitions. So I'm going to jump a slide right here because I wanted to go into this one that shows the number of septic permits issued in Big Sky, and we threw in Gallatin County also, just to show that the interesting thing to me was in 1973, I think the first lift opened in Big Sky. So there's a little spike there. But then something happened in 1992 right here, and you can see that it correlates with Gallatin County in general. But there was something that really spiked off here that created things going on, and you guys probably know what those are. So that was interesting.
That's the moratorium.
Well, no, the movie River Runs Through It was 92.
The spike in 94, 95, there was no moratorium on septic though.
No.
Yeah.
And
That's what I mean. That spiked in 95, 96. Because portion of just alternates.
well, and I should say that this it's impossible for me to get, and I'll go into that, where these septic systems are 20 years ago. You can't tell where they are, and I'll get into that. But what I included here was everything from, say, the karst area all the way up to the corral area. Maybe even, I don't think Cinnamon Lodge, but that's what this includes. So let's go back. This is why I can't tell where all of these are. This is an example of an early Big Sky septic permit. The things to see, that this address, I don't think you can read it up there. It says Big Sky or West Fork of the Big Sky. Yeah, 2 miles up the drainage or something like that. And so there's no good address. There's no soil information on this. Obviously, if you've got sand and gravel, the water soaks through that really fast. And if I had to replace this system, I'd have to get soil information to figure out what they need. Clay is a better clay loam that filters the stuff out better and slows it down and it treats it better. Anyway. Doesn't even say where the nearest surface water. I think this just says river. I don't know where that is. It's a seepage pit somewhere. So going back to now this is a more current slide. This was 2010. You can see the date up there. This is, where's my pointer? There it is. This is the stuff we have to look at now, and it's even worse now. If somebody, back when I started this job 20 years ago, 24 years ago, all you had to do was be 100 feet between this well and your drain field. These are drain fields right here. There's your house. All you had to be was 100 feet. It didn't matter if that well was down gradient or up gradient. This is a mixing zone of pollution coming off of this drain field right here. That's what that box shows, a mixing zone of pollution. You are supposed to be by state law, back to drinking water standards by the time you hit that river right there. Drinking water standards means what the state studies, which means nitrates and phosphorus. They don't look at other stuff moving through there. This one right here, you can see that this intersection right here, there's a 100-foot well radius. You have to be back down to drinking water standards before it starts sucking that pollution into your well, right there. And the engineers have to prove that with a mathematical model. One thing that has just started 2 years ago is they've also got to check the dilution. I can't see my pointer. Anyway, between the drain field and the river, you've got to do a dilution model now to prove that the pollution you're putting in there is not going to impact that river. 5 minutes. Hey, I'm talking fast. Good, okay. And I'd love to talk more about this when we have more time. I mean, there's a lot of questions here. Stormwater runoff, when we approve a subdivision, when we approve a subdivision, we have to look at stormwater to make sure it stays on the person's own property. That pollution, like I said, can't impact neighbors' wells and things like that. So moving on, I think. We do have sensitive areas. Beaver Creek drainage is one of the Montana sensitive areas that's been studied. Beaver Creek is such a small creek that they have determined that all the septic systems that are approved in the Beaver Creek drainage have to use what we call level 2 or tertiary treatment systems to prevent pollution to that creek from getting out of hand. The problem is some of those tertiary treatment systems don't work with part-time residents. It takes like a 2-week lag time before somebody's continually using a septic system before the bacteria and everything can get generated up and start treating that to a standard, to meet state standards. If you don't get that constant use, you're actually putting pollution out. And that's a problem here in the Big Sky area with all the homes that are only occupied occasionally. Advantages of a big public water treatment system. I tried to get Ron's picture here. I got him too late. So this is a big system from someplace back east or out west. What I wanted to stress is that septic systems work. They work great. They've been in use for a lot of years. The problems with them is they do need regular maintenance. People don't realize that. You got to pump your tank. You got to take care of that system. And the other thing that advantages of public systems are that they get monitored. People look at what comes out of those. They check the nitrates, they check the phosphorus, and they do a better job than individual wastewater treatment systems. They do a better job of removing pharmaceuticals and chemicals and things like that. The local water quality district in the Gallatin Valley did a study, and they came up with pharmaceuticals, hormones, and things like that in over 90% of the wells that they checked in the Gallatin Valley because of well and septic interactions. I think death by 1,000 cuts, that's the analogy there. We have to, I think, Big Sky area has to get a handle on what they want to see for their environment here and how it happens. These are actually two systems along the Gallatin. The one I'm standing on a big septic tank there looking at that. The entity there replaced finally some seepage pits that were along the West Gallatin River. And then the other thing it's hard to see, but that's actually sewage on the ground that we finally got this other entity to take care of and put in a bigger public system. So, creative solutions. That's what we're looking for. 1 minute. Okay, perfect. these are just a couple things that we thought of in a split second of trying to make a slide. The implement advanced design, that's what they're doing in Beaver Creek right now. The trouble is it adds $20,000 at least minimum to the cost of your system. So you're looking at like a $40,000 or $50,000 septic system. Owner education, make sure people are pumping tanks and everything. And the Gallatin River Task Force, the Septic Smart program used to do that. Septic inspections with home sales, realtors, there was a bill in the legislature a couple years ago to require that. It'd be a nice thing if everybody knew that they were on a septic system. Keep water quality high. I think that's Brad Pitt in there. It's not me. I can't fish like that. So I'll have cards in the back. If you have any questions, please let us know, and happy to chat during the question and answer period. Thanks.